In place the guitar, the LTD ESP M50, ESP LTD M50. This guitar is great. It is a pawn shop find that I bought many years ago. It is in pretty much the same shape as when it was in the pawn shop. There is quite a bit of cleaning that has to go on with this. It's quite a bit. So the best thing we could do is, like, my experience has been that down here at the bridge, the strings could get stuck. The strings go through the back of the guitar up in the bridge and over. I had this thing all apart one year, just making adjustments. I don't like this to be too high above the fretboard. I forget what they call that, but I like low action, I guess. Yeah, it's action, low action. So we're gonna get it started. The first thing we're gonna do.
Let's get with it. And it opens these URLs really quick. Got him. Definitely not the greatest at playing this game, but I have fun. That's all that matters. Ouch.
Action, I guess. Yeah, it's action, low action. So we're gonna get it started. The first thing we're gonna do is just go ahead and remove these old strings. And as you could see, like, what I like to do is I like to cheat a little bit and not spend too much time unwinding. Gotta lift the body up a little bit, push it through the back, and pull it out and out of the way. Okay. Same thing. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna take and loosen. Pay attention to how the strings are wound up. If it's a new guitar to you or anything like that, you could even use your cell phone to take a picture of it, just in case you forget. But I've been doing it with this guitar for so long that I kind of know. And then you could take this. You could even save yourself time by just clipping the part that's going to give you trouble when you're trying to pull it out. Put it in the pile of trash. So it just comes out. Now what happens is, now the string wants to get stuck, right? And that's what happens. I know this guitar like this, it does that. The unfortunate thing is the strings have been on here for like a few years, and I don't always be playing. I'd be working, I'd be this, that, and the other. And sometimes I forget to maintain it. And sometimes they get stuck in there, like as we've seen there, but it's not a real big deal. So back up here again. Same thing. We want to get it loose enough to whereas we could just kind of pull it. Then we're going to take the part that's gotten curled up. We're going to hold it at that point. We're going to clip it so that when we go to pull it out, it's no problem. And this string is stuck. So you take your needle nose pliers and you just give it a little grip at the base and push, and you can take that string and get rid of it. The same thing is we're just going to get through these strings Let's see. And just get it to a point where it will come out. Yeah, and then just pull that as much as you can till you can pull it. And sometimes with these littler, the smaller strings, they want to get up in there. And just clip that part. Since we're not going to ever use these strings again, we don't believe in reusing strings. These strings are old as I don't know what, a couple years. And it too wants to be stuck. And that's the disadvantage of having the strings like that. They could get stuck in there. So they might take special tools for this particular type of bridge to get it. But it's just a matter of getting the angle right and getting it out of there. And there you go. That's it. That's it. Let me do that again. So we got 2 little strings to go here, and then we will be fine. So it's the same thing, got to get on it, make sure that like you lift the string up with, like, say, a finger, or index finger, or something like that. And then we want to go and go ahead and pull up when you can. Cut the curly piece off. Save us a little bit of time. Instead, because in the past I used to fight with the curly piece. That doesn't want to come through this straight hole. And then it wants to get stuck. So we're going to get it and push when we can. Now you want to be careful with these lighter strings, because what happens is if you can't get it, if you can't get it that one way, man, I'm getting injured by these strings today. If you can't get it that way, it does help to have a tool such as say a poker tool to get down in there and push the string out if you need to do that. So that's an even better method of getting the strings out as well. I wasn't always fortunate to have that poker tool. Another thing is too, so now we know. We're going to go for the final string, the little small string. And as you can see, maybe I'm using my pinky to lift it up. And once it gets to a certain point, I'm just going to pull. And then I'm going to cut. And then I'm going to go, and then if this is stuck, which fortunately it isn't stuck, some of them will come right out. And that's it. I got the strings removed from the guitar. We're going to prepare for the cleaning after I clean up the board. Alright, now that we have the strings removed, there's quite a bit of extensive cleaning that we're going to have to do. I estimate that we are going to need a couple of these paper towels to dry up the disinfectant white. The wetness of the disinfectant white against the paper towel creates kind of a lubricant, but it dries up that wet, prevents it from leaving a residue. We're also going to throw some gloves on here for this particular part of the process. We're going to clean all surfaces just like we did the base. And then we're going to treat that neck with a little bit of this here treatment for cleaning and moisturizing the wood, so to speak. Alright, so got our paper towels handy. Had them at the ready so that we are ready to go. Now, I recommend you have like a duster to, before we even get out the disinfectant white, we should dust it down. So we're gonna do that right now. And we have our handy dandy duster. There's a lot of dust and stuff on here. right, so that, now the reason you want to get that loose dust up is because what happens is if you wipe on top of it, you're kind of working against yourself by dirtying this disinfectant wipe cloth too much. So the same process applies. We're going to get in there and we're going to see how much dirt and grime we could get off of this thing. And, just going to do it in sections at a time. I mean, even just that is really disgusting. But it's been sitting, it's been played a while back, and what happens is it gets dirty. It's just a fact of life. Nothing you can do about that. Dirt, dust, this, that, and the other likes to get caked up, and this, that, and the other. And that's just what happens. That's just how it is. And let's get the pickup, the high, the upper pickup, and this section here. And sometimes you have to work it in with a little bit of Elgrose grease if you see something that you're not necessarily liking. And then, just get in there and wipe it down, get the stuff. You don't want it to necessarily dry up on you, because that will create more work for you. But I can tell you this, at the end of the day, this will be in way better shape than it was beforehand. And also it's good to clean your stuff because you get to see things that you don't normally see, that you might not notice, or this, that, and the third. And it doesn't hurt to get this. Alright. So, I mean, it's even just between this paper towel and this disinfectant wipe, we're getting up a lot of stuff. So we're going to go for another section around the tuning knobs, especially. That's a lot of places for germs, and just want to scrub it down a little bit, scrub it down. Tops of the knobs, sides of the knobs, all that. You can even take the knobs off if you want to, get under it too. That's one way you could do it too. And as it starts to dry, you want to get it up now, right away. You don't want to spend too much time having to dry off or wipe this stuff, residue from the disinfectant off, because that'll eat up your time like your lunch, and that's what you don't want. You want to get the knobs too. Don't forget about the knobs. Even just with this much cleaning, it looks a heck of a lot better. And we want to get that pickup, just and even the sides of the pickups too. Get that, because they get dirty too. And then just get your paper towel and quickly wipe it everywhere you touched with the disinfectant. And these things take a beating, so they got scratches, but it was a pawn shop deal. But either way, I think it looks a lot better than what it did when I picked it up. I was like horrified at what I saw. Now, it doesn't hurt to have a Q-tip, something like you could go as far as taking that all apart if you want to. That always, is a good detailing thing to do. Just remember, when you take it apart, you got to know how you put it back together, things like that. For us, and just to get us going again, because I really need to get this music, I need new music collection. It's stale, very picky about how I go about it, and I like my instruments to be in top spec shape. And this is how you do it. This is one way you could do it. It's not the end all be all. I'm sure some of you guys in the comment section might have some better ideas too that probably help this process along. But right now, this part of the process is just getting the germs and the grime, the dust, all that hard stuff off, And that's what the purpose of it is. It doesn't have to, it looks pretty good, but it's not going to look all that perfect. Plus, there's probably other products you could buy that would be more suited to this sort of thing. But this will suffice for me and my operation. And, as you can see clearly, it looks a lot better than what we had before, you know. And even still, this thing was in good shape when I bought it, you know, and it still is in the same shape in which I bought it at the end of the day. So, you know, like, you get on this, all right. So we've gotten sufficient use out of this and throw it away. It takes a little bit. We're gonna get the neck, get more paper towel. I like to ball it up. We don't really wipe it with too much pressure. The whole purpose is to dry off the disinfectant before it becomes a residue. That's the important thing. And that's the key. That's definitely the key. This neck is going to be like a little bit more work because sometimes your fingers get grimy. And, you know, they can leave a little bit of grime and stuff in there, so it might require a little cleaning in that sense. All right. So we got a new towel, new paper towels, a new disinfectant wipe. And we're going to just work our way from this area of the neck. We're only going to do a few frets at a time. Make sure they are clean in detail because, I mean, there's a lot of dirt that comes off of this, you know, a lot of grime and stuff like that. And, you know, I mean, unfortunately, humans, we have a lot of dirt that gets accumulated on some of the stuff we own, and it's imperative, like, you know, cleaning, that you got to clean up. And an instrument is no different. An instrument is no different. And that's what we'll do. Now, do not rely on just this to treat your neck, because this is to get it clean, because the grease and grime has to come up somehow. And it's very impressive. And a good thing about this is you get to see if there's any deficiencies in your neck and you fill them out, you know what I mean? Because the first guitar that I owned, which is Squire by Fender, ended up getting a scratch in the neck, which, I mean, it wasn't a bad deal, but it's just one of those little things that you don't necessarily want to be going on with your guitar. So I'm pretty satisfied with how coming along the neck is. Got 4 frets there. Whew. I'm about tired. This is some work. But let's get it, you know, let's get it. You gotta get a little elbow grease. Make sure you get every nook and cranny and that sort of thing. And then while we're up here, may as well go ahead and get in there, get the neck, get in between where we could get with the peg, tuning pegs, and that sort of thing. And don't forget where you wipe with the disinfectant, because it will dry up and leave a residue if you forget, and then you'll be looking at that residue in your music video or whatever your project that you're doing. But you want to dry this stuff up quick, because if you don't, it'll be more work for you. So that's that. Give me another disinfectant wipe for the other surfaces of this guitar. This is like a complete 360 cleaning that should be done. I'm thinking about every 6 months to a year for me is ideal. Wow, man. See all that. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to flip it on its side and just start working this particular surface. This is pretty cool. You see, like, some of the blemishes that I didn't even know I had on it, but it's not really a big deal. It's its own guitar, but it's quality. LTD makes some good quality, like ESP and LTD brand. It's the low end brand. It's good quality stuff, you know. It fits me like a glove. That's why I like it, you know. I don't like a guitar that's too big for my little hands, and I certainly don't want one that's too small either. So, like, ESP LTD is it. I would just, honestly, what turned me on to the ESP LTD is seeing, I guess Metallica, Kirk Hammett had one, or, one of them had one. and I think I saw him in concert with it, and I was like, you know, and I know it's not the guitar that makes the player, but I was like, I like that guitar, you know, and it turned out to be a great guitar to have, you know. Is it better than the Fender? I mean, and honestly, it was like kind of, they're both, I used them back to back for a while, and I couldn't tell the difference if you blindfolded me, because the Squire by Fender, they felt about the same in size and weight in terms of everything. So I'm very particular when I go to a guitar store to buy a guitar. I'm not trying to pay like $1,000, $5,000, or nothing like that. You should be able to get a decent guitar for a decent price and get going, because at the end of the day, all guitars do the same thing. They allow you to take a vibrating string through an amp to move air. That's it. That is it. Nothing special, bro. It's really, you know, the guitar player that makes it special. The tricks, the bag of tricks they bring to the table that makes it like so fascinating. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people are like banging on guitar anymore, but I choose to continue banging on guitar, because if I don't bang on some guitar, I feel a deficit in my soul. That's just how it is, people. I feel like a great, like there's something therapeutic about it and very spiritual about making some badass riffs. That's my thing. You can go to psychoticorbit.com, help support the music, maybe buy me a new guitar or something like that. But I offer a lot of the music I write for free anyway, and it's good, and it's good for you, you know. I like instrumentals because I don't really care about hearing what somebody has to say all the time. That gets annoying, and I can't sing anyway, so I like experimenting with different concepts. So I got albums where I've done like electronic stuff, no guitar, and I've got albums where I just do a whole out rock album. And I actually have been craving a rock album myself, because the old sounds, they get stale, but you add a few new sounds to them old sounds, it freshens everything up. That's been my experience. Alright, so back to this. We're just drying up the stuff. I'm seeing a lot of details that I didn't even know of before, because I never really cleaned it on this detail before, but this is very good to do, you know what I mean? It's like, the sad part of it is, it's not in as perfect a shape as I thought it would be, but as long as it plays, as long as it can play, that's where it's at, you know? That's it. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna dry up this stuff here. Don't forget any surfaces, you know? Things like that. And when your paper towel starts to kind of come apart, it's time to get rid of it. I want to grab new, and we're actually home. We're almost home on this one. We just got a few minor surfaces to get, and that's really it. Let's see what else we got. Sometimes, you know, okay, there we go. Found the end of it. Whew. Alright. Now, okay, the final surface I wanted to get was the kind of piece here. Just like that, you know. We pretty much covered everything. Just want to dry it off and things like that, you know. Now, because this wood here is treated a certain way, it doesn't have the coarse opening as, say, this here, so that's why we are now ready to apply this treatment here. Gonna kind of brace and put some spray on it, just like get it, you know what I mean? Because this part of the wood is kind of porous, and we want to rub, you know, the excess out of the way, And when you start rubbing it in, just going fret to fret, make sure it looks all consistent and different things like that. A little bit of elbow grease is required. I'm actually working up a whole sweat on this. We got a special microfiber cloth that came with the products for this particular operation. And I just want to get this cleaner, and it's a cleaner and treater, so. And pretty satisfied with what we have, you know what I mean? Just get everything nice and consistent. You know, just flip it around, do a different, you know, take on it. And that be that. We got a, I don't know what happened to the cap. It's got to be here somewhere, right? There it is. All right, don't want to lose the cap. All right. Okay, so pretty much now it's we're gonna put the strings on it. So we did the cleaning, we did the treating. What we have is a pack of mystery strings. They're called badassstrings.com, pure nickel badass, as you can see there. So different model strings that you buy are different from different companies. So it's good to kind of look at any marking on the pack just to see what we have. Just get them kind of, you know, they tell you on the pack what you have, right? And I just want to get a nice visual to make sure that these things go in the right place, because if you put the wrong strings in the wrong place, you're in trouble. Yeah. So these should be interesting. I never used any of these before, but these are the gauges, so it gives you confirmation of what you have to work with. These are probably a bit thinner than what I'm used to. So I kind of know where they're gonna go. So it's like you got a 10, a 10, a 13, a 17, 26, 36, and they give you a free pick, which I'm kind of short on picks right now. So that comes very handy. So that's always cool, you know, it's a good deal. I'll look these guys up, you know what I mean? So you grab, I'm going for the thickest string. I'm gonna lay these other ones to the side for now. Get them out of the way. And I'm starting with that 36 piece there. Yeah, these are a bit thinner than what I'm used to, but it should offer an interesting sound, and to say the least. And I have other strings too that I can use if these are not good enough. But I've always been one, whatever, I chose these because they were intriguing. And okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab it from the bottom and bring it on in to the point where it snaps up. You want to make sure that it's nice and firm in there. And you want to line it up here. Let's see, any residual cleaning stuff or whatever, make sure you got that wiped up. That little piece there could actually use a little tightening, so I don't even have the right screwdriver for that at the moment. We'll just go ahead and see if this one will work, just to make sure everything's firm and tight. Little things like that, you know. Then we want to decide. It looks like it's going to be in around that way type of thing. That would be best, because it lines up best that way. So with that in mind, I'm going to do my bend and hold and bend it up. And we'll go ahead and cut. I got plenty of slack to do this and not lose. And just kind of, use that to get it going, and then we're gonna start pulling to tighten. We want to get it lined up as best as we can. We want to use our left hand to kind of put tension between the top of the neck area where the tuning pegs and such are, and differentiate the pressure or the tension between the lower part of the neck and such. This is important because it's hard enough to get the strings on there as it is, and this is a kind of an organized way of doing it. And you just hold it on tight until you can't really hold on to it no more. And you can see a nice wound for us. And the strings are nowhere near in tune at this point. So we got the 36 out the way. It's time to go for the 26. Alright. These are probably like good jazz strings or something like that. I mean, if we could get the air removed on these with the distortion, this, that, and the third, I'll be happy. So that's something we'll have to like try and test out either tomorrow or something of that nature. So now it's like you want to kind of find your way in through the hole with the string, get it to a certain point, pull it all the way through. And you got to repeat this process, repeating it on the 5th time. We're going to go in again, and we're going to bring it in and through, leaving us enough tension to where we don't have too much of it wound up, but just enough to make it. And then we want to do a bend and a wrap, something like that, you know. And then get this thing and go ahead and cut it. Don't cut it until you know you have enough slack, because if you cut it before you have enough slack, you would have ruined a whole pack of strings. Another thing too is make sure these tuning pegs are nice and tight, just a little maintenance thing, and that's really it, you know. So we're doing the same thing as before. This is going to get quite a bit of wound because I gave it a lot of slack. I'm going to make little corrections here and there. Just push it down with the index finger of your right hand to make sure that it wounds up. I like mine wounds kind of neat so that they don't slip and trip over each other, to make the, you know, the process a lot easier of playing guitar. Because if you're in a gig or something and your strings go out of tune, some people are good at like tuning them on the fly, by ear, in the middle of a song. I've seen like B.B. King do something like that. That's not me. I'll be honest. I don't like that. I don't roll that way. I have to use. I've tuned in the day without a tuner. This time we'll be using a tuner because everything's at 440 hertz or something like that. I'm thinking about going with 432 hertz or something like that. So that's good. Them strings are sounding nice and crisp. It's almost very exciting, you know. Alright, so we're in the process of adding strings. We added the 26, so that's done. Gotta go for the 17. These should be some real nice strings. They seem pretty solid. I'm gonna go ahead, same process. Be careful with the strings. Once again, sometimes you might want to wear eye protection, because if you poke yourself in the eye with a string, you might have to go to the hospital if you poke it hard enough. I mean, that's the unfortunate thing about it, the danger of dealing with guitar strings. But it's important to pay attention to what you're doing. Make sure you know what the strings are. And one of the dangers that I run into is when you're disposing of the strings. That's something that could be concerned about, because I tend to ball them up, and sometimes I get injured in the process of balling them up, you know. I've received the most injuries today changing these bass strings and guitar strings, and that's just an unfortunate fact of life. Alright, so same process again. I'm going to bring it into a certain point, and I'm going to bend it, wrap it, and cut it at a certain point. There we go. Go in the trash pile, get in your fingers in position, and make sure you wound it the right way. And we'll just start that process that way. I think what we'll do is just put the strings on, but not fully tighten. And when I wake up tomorrow over a cup of coffee, because we got to tune the pedals and all that stuff, that's a whole nother ball of wax there. We want to make sure our tone is right and this, that, and the other. And after just doing what I did today, I'm just going to move the video files over to their place so I can prepare to edit them and stuff like that. Yep. So, like when you get to these, slimmer strings, it's easy to, end up with more of a wound than you would on a larger string. That's just a fact of life. All right. Now, we're getting it to tension, but not fully tension. Just enough to hold it in place for when we do our jam session tomorrow, what have you. So the 17 is out the way. It's time for the 13. 13, yeah. It doesn't hurt to double check what you got. Make sure that it all makes sense before we put it on wrong and have to use another pair of strings, a set of strings, because we put it on wrong. I never put on anything wrong. I always paid attention to what I do to make sure that it goes right. And that's what you have to do. Alright, so we're at this point, we're at the be patient. Sometimes, you could shine a light through it. I could see a little light through the monitor in front of me. And make sure that string wants to go through. Let's see, where's it catching? Where's it catching? Where's it catching? Let's see. Once you get that string through, you're pretty much home free. You pull it up like yarn. And then you just go ahead and do the same process. Find the hole in the tuning peg. And then give yourself enough slack to where it means something. A fair amount of slack, and then wrap it around just to hold it in place. Don't let it do that it just did. Sometimes they want to do that. They don't want to cooperate. Especially these real light gauge or small strings. And then just cut it when you're comfortable, put it in the trash pile. Everything's kind of holding, sort of. So we'll have to back it up a little bit and just start tuning it. And I'm using my hand to provide a pre-tension situation and correcting with my right hand as I see fit. Let's see. So eventually it'll get where it needs to go, and it's kind of sort of getting there. And then I'm just gonna release as I go, release the tension with my left hand, and I'm just gonna keep turning. I don't believe in electric tuning pegs or anything like that. I don't like that auto tuner stuff. I like to be kind of hands-on about it. I like to know what's going on with my stuff. I like to know that it's in tune. I know that I put it there and that sort of thing. We're going to have quite a bit of wounding. Sometimes that's what it's easy. I'd rather have more to wound, but just not too much to the point where it affects the stability of the string, if you will. Let's see. I feel like I'm gonna have to just take your time, get it right. We're not tuning it to tension, but just slightly below. At this point, really nothing's in tune until I get the tuner out. Might change the battery in it, check the settings, and just work with it that way. We're coming along now. We're coming along. And everything's sort of happening. You can kind of see what's happening over here. And yeah, it's a lot of wounding, but I'd rather do a lot of wounding than cut this thing too short and not have anything to wound up with. I could have went a little easy on the amount of wound, But with these lighter gauge strings, I'd rather have more wound than less, because if they should be too short, that's your string, you know. And that's really the key, you know, just having the right amount. So we are getting it there. It's coming to a point where it's tightening up to the point where I have to let it go now. I'm gonna just leave it kind of like that, not at full tension, but close enough. Now these two, I don't like the fact that they label them a 10 and a 10, but we have to really look and see. Sometimes you might have to break out a magnifying glass and just do a quick comparison. Make sure that I don't know, just be tempted to get out the scale and weigh these things, you know, to figure out what is what. And why they would label them 10 and 10, I don't know. But for some reason, I'm feeling like, let's see, and then they don't have real good color coding. But I'm gonna go with the order that I pulled them out the pack and hope that works. If not, I can always change the strings again. I have a preferred brand, kind of the same brand that I put on the base. These are just kind of a little trial thing. So I'm just not sure, you know. It's hard to tell when they're both the same, but we'll just go with it. I really think this other one's thicker, but it's hard to tell with the naked eye. That's why I like all the gauges to be different, or these things to be color coded. Let's see. Let's see. You can tell by the way they bend. I'm really thinking that, man, let me get this magnifying glass a shot again. It really seems like, I mean, even though they're saying they're the same gauge, I'm gonna just go with the order that I pulled them. I didn't want to lose that. Oh, okay. Let's look at the whole string. See how it behaves. All right. Hold on a second. Get this other one out too. Okay. They're very close in gauge. And I don't really want a problem with these two strings. Let's see. I really don't. But it really feels to me like this one is just slightly a little bit more, so I'm gonna just go with it. You know, make the best of what we got. You know, maybe it'll make for an interesting sound. But once again, I have to get behind it, make sure I can see through it, hold it firmly. Come on, and just get it through. All right, put it back, grab it at this end here, go on up the neck with it, and we're gonna try to not wound so much on it. Get it through the hole in the tuning peg thing. Let's see, pull it to tightness, pull it back just enough, do the bend and the wrap. Just wrap it a few times, just maybe 1 or 2 times, something like that. Pull it. See, and these don't even want to stay put, and that's okay. That's okay. But we're just gonna go ahead and clip it now, get it out of the way, and then we're gonna go ahead and go tune. You know. So that's very important. So we're almost there. We should have just enough to tune here. I could have did this other string a little bit like this one, but it's been a while since I've done this, so I lost the muscle memory, if you will. That's its only flaw. Sometimes, you know, you got other things to do in life and you don't have time to pick up the guitar, but I gotta pick up the guitar. That's essential. So we're gonna press down until we get it to a certain point. Now this, okay, I heard something. Okay, that's no problem. So we didn't have it in all the way, so then that's fine. It didn't break anything, so we gotta kind of repeat that process and go ahead and hold it at some tension with the left hand, and just go through with the right hand, and tighten, 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 tighten. That's what we're gonna do. That's what needs to be done. We are getting through it. Alright. And it may seem like forever though when you gotta tune, you know, the tighten, tighten, tighten the tuning peg, but it's starting to come now. It's starting to come together now. You have to be aware of if that snap happens again and you didn't get it enough the first time or whatever have you. But I feel a sense of stability in terms of that issue. That was kind of a little surprise, but we got through it. You know, it's not the end of the world. If the string had broken, like I actually thought, then we would have had to just break out a new set, because the different gauges, different sets, you know how that goes. Everything's got to match. There's got to be a certain calibration to it. And believe it or not, a guitar such as this well-built device here is calibrated to fit and hold everything. There's a lot of pounds of tension. Make sure that we don't have what happened last time happen. And we're going to bring that string on up here and kind of do the same thing. Get it through the hole and pull it to top so we have a reference of where is what. And it's not going to want to do what we want it to do, but we're just going to wrap it like twice, grab it, hold it, cut the excess, and you know, just go forward with the process of tightening it into place. As long as it holds just a little bit, you got it. You know, it's not perfect, but make sure you tune it in the right direction. Once it gets around each other, or around it'll start to kind of hold. And then pretty much we're done with this phase of the project. And then I'm gonna have to take a break because I'm getting tired. I might have to cut that little piece off too. That's no big deal because that's not acceptable for me. We have a lot of slack in it right now. We have to get through the slack, and then the good part of this process is I have something that I could actually work with in terms of getting some planning done. I'm gonna hold off on maybe pull that out a little bit. I don't like that, so I'm gonna cut that off. Just get it out the way and continue on tightening. We're almost there. I'm starting to release this left hand. It did that snap again, which is okay. It's okay. It's nothing to panic. It's just one of those things. I'm just gonna keep on going. Let's see, pull it back again. Maybe heighten up the tension, and then you can see over here that it's pulling my fingers to the fretboard, and that's really, we're almost there, you know. It's a lot of work, you know, just to get this thing up and going, but it had to be done this way, my way, for it to, because I ain't gonna play a dirty guitar. I just not gonna do it, not for nothing, because that dirty guitar thing, if it's dirty, it might just affect the sound, you know, and how the pickups and everything is. This is perfect calibration. Sounds great, but it's not in tune yet. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm done.
mix with the one and only. It's DJ 3T.